NIC, it's Duke Winwell here again with another of my short videos. Today I'm going to be bringing you a guide video on how to build your very own custom melee weapons. So this is an N-Force sword. There's quite a few of these around. There's the Marauder, there's maces, there's axes, there's, I'm forgetting other things, but there's shields, there's daggers. There's so many different Nerf brand foam weaponry. You might be wondering, why do I want to build my own? Well, the N-Force line is on a bit of a decline at the moment. There's only one blaster currently available on shelves. It's around $15. Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to build these Boffer Swords, which cost me less than $1 in materials to make. So let's get right to it, shall we? All you're going to need is a pool noodle, a length of half-inch PVC, roll of duct tape, a long sharp razor blade, and just a little bit of super glue. Now, for those of you that aren't aware of dagger rear, which is actually a mock combat, almost sport if you will say, they have very strict building guidelines on how to make Boffer swords, which are what we're going to be making today. Their Boffer swords are used with, I believe it's half-inch CPVC and a lot of camping foam, along with a fabric exterior that's actually sewn over the camping foam. Now these swords are great, there's nothing wrong with them, but I personally feel that it's just takes too long to make and they're too expensive to make. So I'm going to be going over how I make my own custom swords that are much cheaper. So, first step is to unbox your super glue. Done and done. Next thing you're going to do is just take your big noodle and cut it down to size. Now, as you'll see, these are a lot shorter than this noodle. So if you want a short sword, just go ahead and cut it down to whatever size you want. Now, something else that's important with your PVC core. As you can see, this sword, it bends right about a third of the way down the shaft. That's because my PVC core stops right there. That's simply to give it a bunch of leeway, so when it hits things, it bends back. Instead of having a very thick PVC core, just kind of whap somebody. That actually really hurt. So not having the core go all the way down the length of the blade is a big must. That's something that I feel is missing from dagger rear combat, because they have that CPVC core go all the way up and they just wail on each other. Now, yes, it's made of camping foam, and yes, people normally wear armor and shields and things like that, but I just think this is a much better option for nerfing, because that's what I do, and that's what I hope you guys are doing too. So it's important not to have your core go all the way down the blade, or you're going to do some damage with somebody. You got to have it lead way. So take your PVC core and your noodle. I'm not going to cut this down. It's going to be a big sword today. All you do is simply thread it into the bottom. Now, at first, this is pretty easy, but as you get a little bit deeper into the blade, it starts to get harder and harder. Now, if I recall correctly, when I was making all of these swords, I wetted the inside of the pool noodle and slid my core in that way. Today, I'm just going to brute force it in. So please stand by as I twist this PVC core into my foam noodle. Almost there. Ooh, about 2 inches shy. Alright gents, so your PVC core, or your PVC core right there, is seated flush. All you're going to do with that is take your handy dandy super glue and then just place a very small amount of glue all the way around the PVC core. So that Let's go ahead and attach itself to the foam. And you'll have a nice seated core that hopefully won't come out anytime soon. I made these blue swords over 2 years ago. I've used them in countless engagements. Never had a problem. I love these things. So obviously, my glue is not dry yet, but I'm going to forge ahead and continue on to the next step anyway. So you're going to take out your razor blade. As I mentioned before, you want it to be long and sharp. This one's shorter than I would like and duller than I would like, but it's going to have to do. So right now we're going to be making our handles. All we're going to do with that, I wish this blade was longer, is make 4 quick inserts that kind of slant toward the end of the blade. I might have to make 5. I didn't space it correctly. Oh no, I did space it. Alright. So once that's done, I'm going to go over here and do the exact same thing in the opposite direction. Now, you want to be careful not to go too deep, because you do not want to hit the PVC underneath this foam. Your goal here is to simply remove a little bit of foam. Alright? Alright. So once you have those done, now you're going to actually come in, and this is where you carve away the foam. So it's best if you go slow, especially if you don't know exactly what you're doing, just to make sure that you get everything done just right. Now, an easy thing to do is before you insert your PVC cord, you can go ahead and line it up on the outside of the foam and just mark where the core is going to be. That way, you can just cut right before those marks. Now, I've done quite a few of these swords. I'm fairly confident in my abilities with the razor blade and just foam smithing in general. So I did not do that. I'm just kind of winging it today, and it looks like it's turning out okay. So you're just going to chop off the edges and try and make this as clean and as neat looking as possible. Because after all, this is the sword that you will carry into battle. It's important to make the handle even, because you don't want to be gripping an uneven handle. Right now, I'm carving away one side of the handle, leaving the other side untouched, because this side's too big. Alright, turned out fairly well. Here we have our handle, and all we're going to do with this is wrap it in a very light layer of duct tape. Now, you could probably use a lot of different things to wrap your grips, but remember when I told you that these swords cost me less than $1 to make in materials? Well, that's because I'm using materials like PVC, pool noodles, and duct tape. So, if you're trying to keep costs low, this is a great way to do it and still come out with a nice final product. So I learned a while ago that vertical strips just feel better on your hands than doing a horizontal wrap all the way down. And I also think that you end up using less duct tape as well. So it's almost a win-win. Alright, so our sword's almost finished here. It's coming together pretty well. I've got the swing, I've got the bend right there, about 1/3 of the way down the blade. So it's good to go, good to hit somebody and not cause any damage. All we're going to do right now, well, after I take off the sticker, can't have that on my sword, can I? So see how there is a lovely hole. We're just going to cover that up. So we're just going to take some of our excess foam right here that we already chopped off. Take our razor blade. We're just going to simply create a plug for the end of our sword. So I'm not entirely sure how much foam I'm going to need, but just cut it into a semicircular pattern and shove it in there. Once that's done, take just a dab of super glue. Alright. So I've got that super glued off. Now all I'm going to do is take my razor blade and gently carve away just a little bit all the way around the tip. And now I have almost a tapered edge. And I'm going to do the same thing down here on the base, only much less pronounced. Because after all, this is the pommel, not the blade tip. Alright, gents. There you have it. That's how you make your very own sword. This one was stuck in my closet for about 3 years, hence it's got a bit of a turn. But I bet you a few good whacks in the opposite direction will clear that right up. I should have made the handle large enough to make this a two-hander sword. As it sits, it's about a hand and a half. So I can deal with it. I'm going to have to go ahead and add this one to my collection of, I think I have at least 30 of these little blue guys left. And one big orange, well, I guess this is a bastard sword now. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoy making your very own custom Boffer swords for very little money. They're cheap, they're effective, and they're safe. Thanks for watching. Nerf on.